This is Doc and Galdi on the Team 980, 95.9 FM, and the Team 980 app.
What up, Daddy?
Last shot at it today, Brother Galdi, for those that want to be baptized. Baptized in the spirit of burgundy and gold football as we try to figure it out and get back in the win column.
By the way, something we have not talked about. No Dan Snyder, no Tanya Snyder at the game on Sunday. First time they've ever missed a Washington football game during the Dan Snyder era. Anthony Casolaro, who's one of the Washington team physicians, was quoted in a statement put out by the team on Sunday, saying that Dan and Tanya came into contact with someone with COVID-19, tested negative, but out of an abundance of caution, decided not to, put anyone in harm's way, decided to quarantine, and were not at the game. And that is the first time since Dan bought the team in '99 that he was not at a game on Sunday. So,
I heard about that on game day, and I thought that was really an unselfish thing on their part. And that's what we got to get more people doing, thinking of others rather than themselves.
Now, if they had won the game, do you think Ron would have gone to Dan and said, you know what, Mr. Snyder, you not being there was good for us. Please stop coming? Or do you think he probably wouldn't have said that to him?
I doubt if he'd have said it, but we would have. We would have joked at it. But, of course we would have.
But they lost, so maybe, hey, look, Dan is 1-0 this season. The team is 1-1, so maybe you need him there.
Back.
Yeah, keep that in mind. All right, 301-230-0980. Anything you want to chime in on when it comes to the Washington football team, have at it. There has been some news this morning. Brandon Sheriff placed on injured reserve. Cam Sims elevated from the practice squad. As many of you listening know, there are new IR rules for this season. When it comes to IR, know this. In 2020, a player going on IR is allowed to return after missing only 3 weeks. And teams may return an unlimited number of players from injured reserve throughout the season. So, injured reserve this year is basically like the injured list in baseball, where you can just put a guy on it. You got to stay on there 3 weeks. That is true. But then you can activate him off that. And it's not like you have a limited number of people with whom you can do that. I don't know why this isn't the rule moving forward. I've never understood the lack of flexibility the league gives teams when it comes to roster management. You should be able to put guys on our IR, activate them off IR. And instead, teams are forced to make predictions and projections of, well, this guy's hurt. How long is he going to be out? How are you supposed to know how someone's going to recover exactly? And if someone recovers faster than normal or better than you thought, you should be able to bring that guy back to play. You should reward that guy for a quick recovery and the good news and let him come back. So I hope this is one of these things that sticks moving forward, where IR used to be like a cemetery where you bury the injured for the season. IR should be, again, like the injured list in baseball, where you put a guy on it for a determined amount of time or a minimum amount of time, and then you can bring him back. So Washington looking like going to be doing that with Sheriff 3 to 5 weeks with the sprained right MCL.
You're making too much sense.
Yeah, I know.
Stop it. Seriously. Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want teams to use their players? I mean, I just don't get that.
It's insane. It really is.
It's so stupid. It's so stupid.
With so many empty suits in pro football, it's got to lead all sports.
It's
in
odd,
empty
man.
suits.
It's odd.
No, it really is. Because you don't even have to think hard to figure some of these things out. It's just absolutely ridiculous that they don't figure things out quicker. We need to expand our roster. We need to make suit up 65 people.
Right, who cares?
If it'll improve the game.
Who cares?
Yeah, we're going with guys you sign on a Tuesday or Wednesday. They got to play Sunday, and we're talking about quality of the performance, and we're trying to protect these quarterbacks. It makes no sense. Makes no sense.
One other item today, those of you who are fans of Hale Henchis, Washington, of course, releasing him from the practice squad last week. He has been signed to Indianapolis's practice squad per The Athletic. So if you were looking for Washington to bring back Hale Henchis, at least right now, doesn't look like that'll be happening. All right.
Yeah, he's a good one.
Yeah, I thought he was too. But they think otherwise. So,
yeah.
All right, let's get to Jupe on Doc and Galdi talking Washington football. What's up, Jupe?
Hey, how you doing, Al and Doc?
Hey.
What up?
I want to touch on that point about the size of Kyler Murray you was bringing up, Al. And I want to this made me thought about something, and I want to ask you guys a couple questions. In college, Kyler Murray was pretty good, right? I mean, he was drafted number 1 overall, correct?
Yes, Kyler. Yes.
Yeah, and then we're drafting these linemen, they're old linemen from these colleges, such as the college that Kyler Murray played in, right? So, did these linemen hit a growth spurt, like went from 5'6" to 5'4", 5'6", and hit a foot growth spurt once they got in the NFL? Like, I mean, why is that still being talked about, especially when we got proven short quarterbacks, i.e. Drew Brees and Russell Wilson? Like, a lot of these analysts, I tell you, they trip me out with some of the things they say. Oh, you're too short, you can't play. Or you run too much, you can't play. Like, it don't make sense, especially when we have those proven quarterbacks. On to the Washington team, Doc, I was right with you. I was yelling at my TV Sunday, like, get Terry the ball. Get Terry McLaurin the ball. And I feel it's some Dwayne, but I felt Sunday it was more the play calling. I feel they should get Terry involved first, get him going. That way can open up the running game and other receivers. And the reason for a lot of these fans getting all upset is because of their expectations. Their expectations is of winning when it should be, which we all talked about, Ron talked about. This expectation this year is improvement and seeing what we got. Now, I believe we got weapons. I mean, we can compare it to Jacksonville with Gardner Minshew. I don't think he has any weapons, but he's making things happen. Now, the question to all those people that want to bash Dwayne and try to compare it to Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert, who has a better O-line? Cincinnati or Jacksonville? Do we have the better line than Jacksonville? Do we have a better line than Cincinnati? Do we have a better line than the Chargers? I'll take my thoughts over there. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you. So with the quarterback size, I just think a lot of that has to do with the NFL being a league that has been very slow to change its thinking on a lot of things. I think the NFL has been the slowest of all the leagues to change its thinking for a long time. It's been that way certainly with analytics. It's been that way with X's and O's. It's been that way. I mean, we've seen that racially with, black quarterbacks. Remember, it wasn't that long ago that the black quarterback was a thing. And, a black quarterback is in the Super Bowl. And, we have 2 black quarterbacks in the Super Bowl. You don't really hear that anymore because it's kind of gone by the wayside here. But, it's always been an odd thing to me that the innovation in football comes from beneath the NFL and then makes its way to the NFL. The other sports, you don't really have that. The innovation in the other sports, baseball, basketball, happens at the pro levels and then makes its way down through college and high school. The NFL, it's just it's very set in its ways, very traditional. And so, the thinking for years has been, bigger is better at quarterback. And, you want the guy to be 6'5" and stand strong in the pocket and things like that. And it's taken a really long time, even though smaller quarterbacks have had success at the collegiate level for years, it's taken a really long time for the NFL to come around to, you know what? You don't have to be 6'6" to do well. And it's kind of funny because there were smaller quarterbacks years ago who did well. It's not like every quarterback back in the day was 6'6", but it's kind of felt like there's been this belief of, they're more the exception than the rule. And I remember it with Kyler Murray. People made such a big deal about his combine height and what's he going to measure at. And it's like, it doesn't matter. There are plenty of 6'5" guys who are flops, and we're seeing more and more guys 6'1" and shorter who are just fine playing quarterback at the NFL level.
Yeah, Doug Flutie was really the last guy I remembered being almost criticized for something he had no control over. His height, but yet he made plays. And but that's how we are. We jump on things, and we're a follow-the-leader society, and especially the NFL. If somebody makes it work, then a lot of these, I call them noodles. When John Harbaugh takes a stand, then the rest of the noodles can follow. But if he doesn't make the stand, then they're still talking about a man that they watched light it up at Louisville can't play in the NFL. He did everything he's doing now in college. But until John Harbaugh made it fashionable, then the rest of these losers, then they jump on the bandwagon because they're spineless overall. Zero. And they just wait until somebody does something, and then they turn on into it and try to call it a trend. This is the way it's going. Just like with Sean McVay, who is damn good at what he does, he got going. Then these losers go around, they try to clone somebody. Well, he kind of looks like Sean. He talks like Sean. Let's hire him. Because they're brain dead when it really comes to what they should be experts at. And that's why half the league is inept. Period. And it'll be this way forever. Because nothing is going to change until the hiring process changes. And I don't see that in the future.
For years, there's been this saying of the NFL is a copycat league. And it was said as a way, I guess, to kind of say, well, if you do well, others will follow you. But I think in a lot of ways, that mantra of it's a copycat league, that's an indictment of the league to where there's not a lot of original thinking, and it's just kind of follow the leader, and there's not a lot of innovation. That's finally starting to change, but
Exactly.
you want your league to be filled with independent thinkers and bold thinkers, and you haven't had that nearly enough in the NFL. All right, if you're on the phone line, stay there. 301-230-0980. Doc and Galdi talking Washington football with you. Ron Rivera on his dealings with cancer. We'll get into that coming up shortly. Coming right back.